Hello, welcome to the show. This is Soulstar Radio. I'm Jacquelene Closemore, and you're on the A1R Psychic Radio Network and also Moonstruck TV, going all around the world because that's what we can do here. It's kind of fun. So welcome back to the show. There's been some people adding themselves to the healing list. So before I go to any callers today, and I'm going to do one call today, I've also got a written in person that I'm going to do a reading for. But before I go to the caller today and get all that stuff, I've got the candle going. It may or may not be terribly visible, but it is rolling along there. And what we're going to do is a bit of a healing meditation. So if you'd like to join me in that, all you have to do is, whether you're wanting to have healing for yourself or for loved ones, just in your own mind, you can put out that energy. It doesn't matter whether this is now the podcast, by the way, because spirit works in all time and space all at once. So it really doesn't matter whether you're watching me live or not. Whenever you get this show, this energy will still transmit. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm shuffling a particular card deck I use when I'm invoking the angelic energies, and I don't invoke angelic energies to get a car space or a shopping centre, just to be really clear for that. So if there's anyone out there wanting healing at the moment, you want to go grab your candles, maybe light one, or if you're wanting to participate and send healing around the earth at the moment with me, once again, doesn't matter what time space you're in, or even what time space continuum for that matter, or whether you're watching the live or the podcast for that too. So light a candle, charge up your favourite crystal. I'm just going to quickly call the corners on this. There we go. All righty. Okay, so now here we go. Who are we out there? What energy is going to help the most, or all on our healing list, which you can find on the Soulstar Radio page, that healing list. I think I've got it pinned to the page at the moment, to the top of the page. If I haven't, I will do that shortly after the show is live. Who do we need to do that healing with most for everyone out there? Okay, righty. So let's just show you this one. So we've got Hadraniel, which is all about love and the invocation of love. I would sort of encourage that before you look for love with another person, it's really important to have love with yourself, because if you're looking to buy a shirt off a man who's selling you the shirt off his back, it's not really, the best, is it? It's probably been used. Probably not ready for wearing. Might not fit you. So the same sort of thing is with love. If you've got someone there who doesn't love themselves, it's very hard to actually feel loved by them, because if they can't love themselves, how are they going to love you? So I was actually watching a post thread last night on Facebook, and it was what are red flags for dating? And I was like, wow, here's a great big list based on the sorts of things I've experienced with clients telling me about what's happened for them and what I've sort of observed in the wild for people. So it's interesting that that's a card that, of course, it's come up, is Hadraniel for love. But in any case, to send out healing to do with love, that's what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to charge up this energy here. The first card in the deck is actually Nathaniel, which is fire. So we're invoking that energy, of course, in Australia, in Melbourne right now. It's going to be 35 degrees Celsius, which is way up there in American terminology, and the Fahrenheit is just booming. The card before that is mercy. So the card before Hadraniel was actually mercy. So the first one is Nathaniel, then Remiel, which is mercy, and then Hadraniel, and then Uziel, which is faith. The last one is Zachariel, which is about surrender. And the interesting thing about the journey towards love and people who are looking at that, and even loving the self and doing healing on the self, you first have to be merciful and forgiving towards you. You also have to be able to then fill that well up and be able to forgive others. Now, forgiving others, just so we don't get all in a big spin here, forgiving others doesn't mean you have to have them over for a Sunday roast every weekend, particularly not if you're planning on roasting them. But forgiveness can simply be accepting that they were never going to be out of the way. And by accepting someone was never going to be out of the way, and there might not have been anything you could do at the time to change the knowledge you had at the time, or maybe there was, but maybe if you can forgive yourself for what you've done, but also forgive them for what they've done, in the sense of not necessarily accepting that behaviour in your life again, but certainly saying, all right, well, that's happened, it's done, I can't change it. I'm going to release them, which releases me. Because if we carry around grudges, we're never really free. So in the sense of sending healing, and all of what we're doing here in this sort of invocation, we're looking at how we can be merciful towards ourselves and others. And it's also about accepting where we might have gone wrong, where we might have really not been helpful to that person, and how we're contributing. So always look at that sort of personal responsibility here, but we're going to channel out that energy of Hadronial as well. Uziel, faith. Now, to step into the space of love, you actually need faith. So the faith to be able to trust that this is possible to happen, the faith to be able to trust that if someone says they love you, that they do mean it, and to know in your gut instinct of when you're feeling that they mean it, but also to check yourself, like, are you being faithful to yourself here? Are you being honest to your own feelings? It's really interesting when people get very locked in the intellect of love versus the feeling of love. Often we get too much into the intellectual side of it, we actually miss the boat of falling in love altogether. So, there's that. And surrender, allowing things to be what they are. We can't necessarily force people to love us. It's not love if you're forcing them. And so surrender is all about allowing for things that are, and I think it's really important not to give your heart away too quickly to people or to the wrong people. Oh, he's got all these potentials. Oh, boy, yeah, okay. What about the actual? If the actual ain't great, don't hang around for the potentials any longer. You hang around too long. So surrender is trusting the process of what you're seeing, keeping your eyes open. Surrender is also just going, all right, well, it either will work or it won't. You try to make things work, but you can't force them. So, it's sort of this message of allowing. That doesn't mean allowing things that are outside of reasonable boundaries. And boundaries are very important in love. They talk about unconditional love all the time, but love actually has a lot of conditions, because there's a condition of respect, both the giving and the receiving. And if someone's pressing on your boundaries, you pushing back a bit, yeah? So that's where I would put that. So we're just going to channel that energy out at the moment. To all who need it at this time, on all planes, in all time. Sending healing to the past, the present and the future of that issue. And for those people who need it at this time, we send you love. Please be merciful toward yourself to accept the light and to allow your own light to expand more. And remember to shut the door on anyone or anything that doesn't represent that light. We can't always fix people. It's really important to fix ourselves. And to be loving to ourselves is part of that. So remember to love you first. I'm just channeling the energy as I'm speaking. So I'm not sort of just sitting there going, yeah. So with the candle you've got lit, if you've got one there, just keep burning. Don't leave unattended candles, particularly not next to curtains. Kind of sounds really simple. Amazing how often that doesn't get adhered to. So I would just watch that one. If you are at the sun in Australia today, just take it very carefully and apply sunscreen. And particularly if you're looking to meet someone, apply fire screen where necessary. That's what I'm going to say about that one. Just going to do a little bit more of that channeled energy for a second here, and I might not speak for a moment, so I hope you don't mind. A little bit of dead air. It's a really good thing when you're trying to receive healing or even send out healing. Sometimes it's to close your eyes and to just go into that quiet space. So if you'd like to do that, feel your feet firmly on the ground, or if you're lying down, well, that's okay too. If you're lying down, try and imagine tree roots growing out of your feet and going right down into the earth. If you're sitting down, you're probably already feeling your feet on the floor. And just feel that heart energy spinning and turning around inside. Imagine a beautiful glowing light there. And as it spins and turns, healing going out to all who need it in a way that is safe and respectful to them for when they are ready to receive it. And healing to all who are watching, listening, and tuning in on whatever plane. Sending that out to you. There we go. And I'm just going to switch back out of that, and we're going to give you just a moment. Today's card, for everyone else, we're going to use a major arcana. Let's just see what we've got. It's just helping me switch out of the energy. So message for today for everyone. Okay. In Australia today, it's the 1st of November, so it's actually kind of All Saints Day. It's also kind of Beltane here in Australia. Meanwhile, in the US, of course, it's Samhain or Psalm, which is Jacquelene. So the card today is a justice card. This is all about finding the balance. Cards on the other side of it are talking about sort of ending one journey and starting another. So in the middle, we play and balance things. And of course, Mercury has gone retrograde. I think it's currently stationary. So do be careful in your communications over the next couple of weeks and just see how you feel about things. We've got Venus in Scorpio, I believe, still. We've got, of course, the Sun in Scorpio. So it's kind of intense times. Do try and take it easy on people, hence sending the healing out today. Meanwhile, going to go to our caller. We've got Amber in Aston, Wyoming. Are you there, Amber?
Hello.
Hello, Amber. There we are. We've got you. Welcome to the show. Thank you for calling in. We've got you there, darling.
I was having a hard time hearing you.
Yep, you were kind of chilling out, weren't you? There we go. Now, was there a question you wanted me to look at today? And if I look at your date of birth, I can do a reading there for you.
Okay. Can you connect with people that have passed or anything like that?
Yep, what I might do is if I start with your date of birth, and then what I'm going to do also is I'm going to look at the first name of the person you wanted me to connect to. That will certainly get me going if that's okay with you.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. Would you like me to mention his name or?
Yeah, it did feel male. Yep, just the first name.
Kurt.
Is that Kirk with a K at the end? Yeah, got it. Really feels like I get a very upbeat at times feeling, and it's like it's quite sporadic with him. Sometimes he's quite on the go, quirky, witty. Sometimes he likes to challenge ideas around people and keeps chopping and changing from things. So I'm not quite sure if he's having trouble while he's alive with, sticking to things at times. But it just feels like he's chopping and changing a bit. But he likes to try and leave people feeling fairly happy with things. Has a quirky, unusual sense of humour is the feeling I get with him. Can you relate to that with him? Yeah. Okay. Good.
That sounds right.
Yep, that's right.
That
now, was there a question you wanted me
him.
to? Yeah, absolutely. Now, was there a question you wanted me to ask with him? And he seems quite young to me as well. Does that make sense?
What's that?
He seems quite young to me. He's got this really youthful energy, so I don't know whether he's passed over when he's young or whether he's just wanting to present himself in his younger years. So are you there, Amber?
Yeah. He was 25 when he passed.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, was there a question you wanted me to look at with him at all?
If he was Trenton.
Sorry, can you say that again?
If he was Trenton.
I'm sorry, I can't quite hear that last bit, but what I do get is a feeling of support coming in from him. It's like he's watching out for what you're doing and where you're going, and he'd like to open the door for you, except he can't from the other side. So that's him with his sense of humour again. Thanks, Kirk. I always get the interesting ones. And it's like he's having to, while he was alive, having to juggle a lot of different things here and having to make up his mind sort of on the hop, quite last minute. It wasn't quite what he wanted to do, so I don't know what it was. It wasn't quite what he wanted to do. It wasn't happening how he wanted, and he had to sort of chop and change at the last minute, and there's an unpredictability in things shortly before he passes over, if that makes sense to you.
Yes, that does.
Yep.
Yes.
And also that you're at the moment going through a time where you're having to make a big choice between two things. I don't know if that's two people, two directions, and two very different paths, but I keep getting this juggling. I can't make up my mind. I'm having trouble with this, and you've been quite emotional lately. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, was there also a question you wanted me to ask of him? Like that he can answer?
Let's see. Is there like any certain angels that like watch over me or anything like that? Or like
Absolutely. You've got three different energies. You've got three different energies that I can see around you that are quite strong, holding position, holding place, and holding the poles at the moment. So whether you're having a lot of trouble balancing things out, it's like the poles are representing two different ways of seeing things. It's interesting we had the Justice card before as the card for, people watching out today. And here we are with this, also the Two of Pentacles, and there's sort of this having to weigh things up, having to work out what's fair in the situation. You are going to come through this quite well, and I've got this reference coming through from Kirk of being in a lolly shop and having trouble making up your mind. So I'm just not sure whether he was a sweet tooth or you were, but somebody here is a sweet tooth, really likes the candies, really likes the lollies, and it's like he's been very playful in that environment, and he's going, well, can't you just pick one and go, because we've got to get going. So it's like this is also symbolic at the moment for you of you've really got to be able at the moment to sit back from all the choices and come back and, yes, my heart sings when I think of doing this. And here are the options that make my heart sing. We get them down and shortlist them to maybe 2 or 3. And then it's like, okay, we've got them shortlisted. Now, what makes logical sense? What makes practical financial sense? And what in my gut actually sits well with my heart and mind? So the heart, the mind, and the gut all being in happy coordination with each other, and then you're going to have the right decision here. And it's some kind of life-changing decision at the moment about your path. So whether this is the work you're doing or whether this is just, where you're going to be. But I just keep getting the word path with that. And it's like, yes, you're going to be able to weigh this up correctly, but it's just really important to weigh it against the heart, the head and the gut, because if any of those three don't agree with the other two, we've got something going on that's not quite right. It's like many years ago, about 2 decades ago, I remember meeting this woman, or rather hearing from her first on the phone. And I got 2 impressions at once. And one, I can't repeat the exact words because it's expletives, but it was what that's been beeped out. And the other one was, wow, you're going to learn a lot. And I'm like, wow, these 2 very different opposing views of this person. And I did learn a lot through that person, I've got to tell you. I mean, I have to be grateful for that. But how she was, in the latter stages of things, it was like, what a, there it is again. Because it's like, wow, this is really quite, turned. So, that's just one example of when you can have conflicting messages about a path or a person or even what event to go to. It's like you can have this conflicting stuff and you sort of can filter out, well, what are the messages? Why am I getting a mixed feeling? Well, it could be that you're still meant to go through that anyway. So sometimes we can feel, wow, that's going to be heavy, but I've got to go through it anyway. This is really important for me. And other times it can be, this is so unnecessary, don't do it yourself. So that might help you with how to do this. It's like you're overwhelmed with choice at the moment in a way, but not really when you use the heart, the head, and the gut, the gut instinct to tune into. And that way you are listening to yourself and your higher self, which is where your guides and your angels are. If I was looking at, all right, so let's pull out a card for you of the actual angel energies and just see which one of those pops out. But just please don't ask Archangel Michael to get a parking space for you at the shopping centre. It's just a running joke I've got, don't worry. Don't take it personally. Using this deck, mind you. But let's just see what Amber needs at the moment, what angelic energy at the moment relating to this. So who governs what? Oh, there we go. Look at that. So the card you've got is Zachariel, which is about surrender. So this doesn't mean quitting. It means going with the flow of things. And it's one of the cards that I actually pulled up before I started doing your reading, which of course makes sense to me. There's partnership in the future for you, or a solidification of partnership in the future. And I think a period of real clarity. With the last card there is Shushian, which is about purity. But, you know, there's this sort of sense there of getting your life really in track and having things where you want them to be. It's like you're going to make the right choice over the next few months about this path, and also about the lolly shop symbology of can't quite make up my mind, feeling a bit overwhelmed by it. So you're going to do well out of this, but it's just at the moment, try to exercise patience. I know that your patience will be, somewhat challenged, but you're going to find that by being patient, we make the better choices. There was an experiment done on marshmallows. You can have one, style one right now, or you can wait 2 hours and have 2 of them. And it's sometimes better to be the 2 marshmallow person, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Does that make sense to
I know what you mean. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on at the moment. You're going to come out quite well. Do just keep working on yourself. And I think the thing is, you're actually got a lot of healing energy yourself. And it's just going to be really important to keep working on that outside of the day job that you'll have. Later on, you'll have an involvement in natural therapies. It could be a decade away. I'm not quite sure as far as actually being a practitioner of that in a very big way. If you open up to this, that is. So it's all about sort of, what you want to do, where you want to go and how to get there. But you've got a lot of options on the table is how I would kind of see this, and get you to sort of explore it a lot more. So I hope that helps you, Amber.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right on point for me.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your feedback, Amber. I really appreciate it. Do feel free to get in touch with me if you need to through the Facebook page, Soulstar Radio. You'll find me there if you need to send me a private message there, Amber. I'm more than happy to help if you need any clarification. So thank you once again for calling in. Thank you, everyone, also who watches the show each week. I know that I like to do the on-air readings and live readings, but sometimes my sound quality is not that good due to my technology. So I'm doing what I can to fix that. Sometimes that means buying entirely new headsets. Other times it's going to involve a mixer later on and, sets of microphones for guests. But, we do what we can. So thank you all for being patient with me. Sorry I can't get to everyone who calls in straight away, and sometimes I'm getting messages through email through the website as well, so do feel free to make contact through www.soulstar.media, which is where you'll find the free readings. If you're wanting a private paid reading with me, I do those as well. I also coach and mentor people spiritually and energetically, so there's training that you can do with me if you want, and I'm actually a 6th-generation psychic as well, and been around the tracks quite a while, 24 years of public practice full-time, but certainly, you can contact me that way. You can also, once again, find that Facebook page, Soulstar Radio with Jacquelene. The paid readings, you'll find me on jacquelene.com.au. That's Jacquelene as my name spelt with an E-N-E at the end. And what I'm going to do next week is get onto that written in reading there. It's actually for a very special lady as well. So thank you, Amber, once again from Aston in the USA. For making contact. In the meantime, there's more shows coming up on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV very, very next. Moving along. In the meantime, I'm going to say bye for now and send you lots of love. Bye.